Hey VC, just doing a bit of a response to um, my lung puppy's thread of Stump the VC. I've also seen a couple of other variations on this thread, obscure records and things like this. It's really fun. It's really fun. I've learnt a lot. I've watched a couple of not only Ron's videos but a couple of other responses to that, and I've seen some records that I have seen before, but others that I've never even heard of. So it's really great. It's great. I mean, that's why we're here, to learn about new music and to see what other people are digging. That's why we do it. Otherwise, we just play our own collections and be content. Um, so the record I'm going to show, I was in the record store probably about a month ago, and uh, one of the great feelings of being in the record store as opposed to shopping online is that you get to sort of talk with the the guy behind the counter who's about some cool stuff, and we were talking about some obscure things, and especially Australian records, um, and that's always fun. But a couple of the guys who were digging at the time sort of weighed into the conversation and placed this record that I'm about to show into my hands. I'd never heard of it at the time, and we put it on to the turntable in the store, and we all just really blew, we were really blown away by it. It was really cool. And the album's called Take Your Pick by Greg Olsen. As you can see, it's sort of a hard record to describe based on the cover. Like I said, I wouldn't usually pick up something like this. Um, I mean, it's pretty clever with the take your pick plectrum pun with the plectrum image there. But yeah, Greg Olsen. Greg Olsen was or is still currently a wonderful guitar player, electric guitar and acoustic guitar on this record. Um, it's a jazz fusion world music psychedelic sort of album, of a really high quality. I mean, this guy knows his stuff. It's predominantly an instrumental record, but there's a couple of tracks on here where there's vocals, some really soulful vocals sung by a Doug Williams, and those tracks are pretty cool too. Um, but what's exceptional about this album is the masterful guitar playing. I mean, it is just really solid and really textural and really engaging. Yeah, but there's all sorts of things on this record. I mean, you've got bass and drums and acoustic piano, Fender Rhodes, keyboards, saxophones, flutes, congas, other percussions, and a few other vocals as well. But yeah, it's just a really really lovely, magical sort of record. Now the interesting thing about this record is, you can see down there on the credits, you've got lyrics. So thankful, lyrics and music by Stevie Wright. Now the Stevie Wright he's talking about is Stevie Wright from the Easy Beats. And when I did a little bit of research, mainly through talking to people that had heard about this guy before, while we were in the store, and then later on following up with a couple of odd blog posts that I'd found. Greg Olsen was a devout Christian, and he spent his time in the Salvation Army working with, sort of recovering drug addicts and alcoholics and stuff. And when he was there at the time, Stevie Wright from the Easy Beats did a stint in there, and while he was there, they made some music together and they collaborated on a few ideas. And one of the tracks on here, I believe it was called "I'm So Thankful." Track 3 was an extension of an idea from Stevie Wright himself. Yeah, it was pressed on EMI Custom label, if you can see there. The custom records, which was basically a very, it was a very small sort of subsidiary of EMI, obviously. I think I recall seeing a couple of other Australian obscurities pressed on this label too. One that comes to mind is the Quasar. The Quasar record was pressed on EMI Custom, I think, and I might have a couple of others in there too. But pretty small numbers. The pressing, 1983. I know, again from reading, that Greg Olsen himself still plays. I actually Facebooked him not long ago, not long after sort of getting this. I sent him a message on Facebook and I said that I really enjoyed his music, and he replied straight away. He said, "Oh my gosh, thanks so much. Really appreciate that." He's still making music. But I learned that these were pressed to quite small numbers, and the pressing, the copies that he sold didn't even pay for the vinyl press of it. So such is the case with a lot of unsigned Australian bands. We just don't have the population to support artists, even the great ones. So yeah, take your pick. Greg Olsen. VC, talk to me. Tell me, what do you know about this guy? I'd love to hear. Hear some feedback. Cheers.